don't know, right? Come here. I want you to come look at this sign. Come up a little close. Come up a little close. Right here. Come look at this sign right here. So, you ever read the Bible before? You familiar with the Bible? You familiar with the history of Moses and the Israelites? All right, so what we teaching according to the Bible, the Israelites in the Bible, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are God's chosen people. We are the Israelites. So I want you to come look at this sign. You familiar with slavery? Why did we go into slavery as a nation of people? You have no idea, right? Come look at this sign. Come look close. Bro, don't worry about that camera, man. You got cameras everywhere out here. We being recorded even when we don't know it sometimes. You see what I'm saying? I want you to come close and look at this sign. Because our people, we are a visual people. Sometimes we don't like to just read words on the page. We need to see the pictures behind it. You see what I'm saying? So come look close. Come look at the sign. Come on, man. Come on. Hey, man, we out here for you, bro. We brothers, man. You ain't got to be scared. Come on up. So when you look at everything that we went through, right? On this sign, this man got a bird cage on his head. They got us on auction blocks right here, selling us to different nations. They had us in the cotton field picking cotton. You know what I'm saying? They got us, what he doing right here? He's sizing up the black man so he can sell them off. What is that familiar to today? What do they do that today? Huh? So when you get drafted in sports, right? What do? Don't they size you up? Like, man, he look like this, he look like that. He can jump this high. He can run that fast. That's the same thing they did back to us in slavery. How is it that we went through all this oppression? How is it we the only ones that went through this and nobody else went through this? Did the white man get sold on auction blocks? Did the white man get bought over here on slave ships? Was the white man in the field picking cotton? Was the Chinese man in the field picking cotton? So how did this happen to us? Why did this happen to us? That's the question that we should be asking. Because when you see all the atrocities that we go through in America, we get the camera off of him. He don't want the camera on. We get shot down in the street and the police get off, right? We got a lot of single parent households out here. Why do we have so many single-parent households? We leading AIDS and Asian and all these different diseases. How is it that these things continue to happen to us, but it doesn't happen to everybody else? Why did this happen to us? That's what we're going to find out today. Read that, Deuteronomy 28:15. So you say you're familiar with Moses and the Israelites, right? This is what Moses told the Israelites after he parted the Red Sea and they walked across. Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So you got kids? You got brothers? You got brothers and sisters, right? So when you was younger, your father, if he told you to do something and you didn't do it, what happened to you? You got in trouble, right? So think of it as this. Think of it as your father talking to you. Read it from the top again.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments. All his commandments.
Moses said if we didn't obey God's commandments. Today, we don't obey God's commandments. You know what we subscribe to? We subscribe to different religions.
Right.
Some of us are Baptists. Right. Some of us are Seventh-day Adventists. Right. Some of us are Pentecostal. Right. Some of us don't subscribe to religion. You know what we subscribe to? Politics. Right. Some of us believe we're Democrats. Some of us really believe we're Republicans. Right. Some of us trust in that system. Right. But what did Moses tell us? If we didn't what? We said not hearken.
Hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. To observe, to do all his commandments.
So Moses said if we didn't keep God's commandments, read.
And his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So just like your father told you, he said, if you don't clean this room up when I get home, you're going to get punished. Right. So Moses told us, if we didn't keep God's commandments, we were going to get punished as a nation. You know how God punished us as a nation? Y'all familiar with slavery, big bro? Why do we go into slavery as a nation of people? How is it that the so-called black people, the so-called Hispanics, and the so-called Native Americans were the one that went into slavery? Big boy, where you going? We ain't finished. We got a lot to learn. Come. Don't go nowhere. Because you can't leave here the same way you came. Right. You got to leave here with more understanding than you came with. So my question is, why did the so-called black people, I want y'all to come close. Come look at this sign right here, bro. Why did we have to go through all this oppression? Why did this happen to us and not other nations of people? We had bird cages on our head. They sold us on auction blocks. We was in the slave field. Look at this right here. They burnt this man on a cross. And a lot of us wear the cross on our neck today. So why do we wear something that was used as a punishment for us? They burnt us on the cross. Why did all this happen to us? Why did we go through this? But when you look at the Chinese people, when you look at the Arabs, when you look at the Africans, or the white man, they didn't go through this. How is it that we went through this and they didn't? How is it that we get shot down in the street today and they always get off? How is it that we kill each other in our own communities? We kill each other over colors. You blood, he TD, he Crip, and we kill each other.
Bring it out.
Somebody step on your shoe, you ready to kill him. Why is it that we got so much hatred in our own communities? Who is this man right here? Who is that? Y'all familiar with him? Who is that? No, who is this right here? You don't know him? You don't know who is that? Who is he portrayed as, if I may ask? He's portrayed as Jesus Christ. When we go to the church is supposed to be the building where you go to learn God's laws. But when you go to the church, it's the first thing you see on the wall. How is it that this image is portrayed everywhere? What does the Bible say Christ looked like? Let's read it real quick.
Bring it out.
Let's read that real quick, because it's a reason why. Come on, man. You think we was in slavery, right? In the Bible, we can read that Christ was a black man. They didn't allow us to read the Bible. They didn't allow us to read the Bible, and they gave us this image. So if they lied to us about what Christ looked like, what else y'all think he lied to us about? Are you really an African American? Are you really a black man? Are you really a Negro?
Right.
How is it that your name changed over time?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if they lied to you about this, and his image is in the Bible, they lied to us about everything, bro. We don't know nothing about ourselves. We only know what we've been taught by the white man, by the oppressor. Read.
Revelation chapter 1, verse 1.
So we're going to read the image, the description of Jesus Christ, all right?
The revelation of Jesus Christ.
The revelation means the revealing of Jesus Christ. Read. Verse 14.
Verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
So it said Christ had white, woolly hair. When you look at these two pictures, this man right here has white, woolly hair. When you see this image right here, he usually has blonde hair, and long, straight blonde hair.
Right.
This is the wool that Christ is talking about, read, that John is talking about.
As white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire.
So, when you look at this man's eyes right here, usually he has blue or green eyes. But it said Christ's eyes would be red. You see the red on his eyes? You know why his eyes was red? What was his first miracle? He turned water into wine. Do you not think he drunk a little bit? They used to call Christ a wine bibbler because he drank a lot of wine. In moderation, of course, but that's why the white of his eyes was red, according to the prophecy written in Genesis 49. Read.
And his feet like unto fine brass.
What?
And his feet like unto fine brass.
What color is brass? Brown, right? It's a derivative of brown. So it said his feet was like fine brass.
As if they burn in a furnace.
You put anything in a furnace, what color does it turn? Black. So if you look down at Christ's feet, he said Christ's feet was like fine brass as if it burned in a furnace. You can't get a white man out of that.
That's right.
Nowhere. But why would they push this image across the world? Why would they do that? Did they allow us to read in slavery? You know why? Scripture say, blessed is the man that read. They didn't allow us to read because they know if we begin to read the Bible, that they say, a lot of people say the white man wrote the Bible. That's a lie to get you not to read it.
Right.
Because all of our history is in the Bible.
Right.
Everything we need to know about ourselves, where we come from, and our end game is written in the Bible.
Right.
But the lie they tell you is don't read the Bible, it's a white man's book. Because they don't want you to know that Christ is a black man. They don't want you to know that you God's chosen people. They don't want you to know that when y'all come back and start to keep God's commandments, this world is going to come to an end.
Right.
The white man that's ruling the world right now, he's not going to rule forever. When y'all wake up and start keeping God's commandments, we going to take over this world.
Right.
We going to rule this world.
Right.
But you can only do that if we keep God's commandments. So give me 2 Corinthians 11:4 real quick. 2 Corinthians 11:4. So this whole we've been deceived about who we are for so long. The reason why all this happened to us that we see, these are actual pictures that they did to us. The Arabs, a lot of us subscribe to the Islam religion. But what they fail to realize is that the Arabs had us in slavery too. That's how we became Muslims. We became Christians when the white man came over here with the cross and beat us and made us believe in his image. We were never Christians before that. So we only subscribed to these religions because we were captives to these people who served those gods. See what I'm saying? So read that.
2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 4. For he that cometh preacheth another Jesus, whom we have not preached.
That's that other Jesus. That's another. Nobody in the Bible preached that Christ was a white man. Nobody in the Bible preached that the way you get saved was believing in the Islam.
Right.
Those are different Jesuses.
Right.
Those are the different anointed. That's not the true gospel.
Right.
Read.
Or we receive another spirit.
Another what?
Another spirit.
Because when you have another image, when you have different images, come with different spirits.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you have this white man right here, a lot of the pastors or a lot of the people in the church, real men don't go to church. You know who go to church? the so-called, the women go to church, and the gay people.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So this image bring forth another spirit.
Right.
Because they say come as you are. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of gay pastors nowadays.
Right.
You got a lot of gay people in the church and women.
Right.
Real men are not in the church because that's not a place where a man can rule.
Right.
They effeminize you in that church. They don't teach you God's commandments in that church. Read.
Which we have not received, or another gospel.
Another what?
Another gospel.
You know the gospel that comes with this man right here? All people can be saved. God loves everybody.
Bring it out.
That's nowhere in the Bible. God does not love everybody. Everybody is not going to be saved. In the kingdom of heaven, guess how many gates it is? 12. Who you think those 12 gates for? The people on that sign. Do you see a Chinese man on that sign? You see an Arab man on that sign? You see a white man on that sign? Who do you see on that sign? You see the so-called American blacks. You see the Jamaicans. You see the Haitians, the Puerto Ricans, the Cubans, the Dominicans. And these are all their slaves' names. You know what I'm saying? On the right side is the name that you find about them in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? But on the left side, these are the names they gave us when they put us in slavery. But all these people right here, the Cubans, the Dominicans, the Guatemalans, the American Indians, the Seminole Indians, the Colombian to Uruguay, the Incas, the Aztecs, Argentina, all these people right here went through the same oppression. We were all captured by the so-called white man and put in slavery. Why? Because we didn't keep God's commandments. So the issue that we have is not with the white man. The white man is doing what he's supposed to do. The Arab is doing what they're supposed to do. We are the only ones who are out of course with God. We didn't keep God's commandments. Read.
Which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with him.
You got to correct that man. So if anybody preach anything outside of what the Bible say, if they telling me that Christ is a white man, we gonna deal. I'm gonna correct you because according to the Bible, Christ is not a white man. They tell me I'm an African American. They tell you an African American. We gonna deal with you because according to the Bible, we're the Israelites. Why? Why do we have to do this? Read.
For I suppose I was not put behind the very cheapest.
No. So go back to Deuteronomy 28:15. So the reason why this happened, as I stated before, we broke God's commandments. So what do we have to do? We have to learn God's commandments so we can get out of this oppression. One by one. You know what I'm saying? We can't point the finger at the next man. You got to do what you got to do according to God. Read verse 15.
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So in the wilderness, Moses told these people, you got children? You got a mother, right? Mother and the father, right? So your father told you to do something when you was young and you didn't do it. What happened? You got punished for it, right? So Moses is telling the Israelites the same thing. He said, if you don't listen and keep God's commandments, curses are gonna happen to you.
Right.
What's some of them curses that happen to us? Give me verse 32.
Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fare with longing for them all the day long.
So when in slavery, and like I said, we go through a process of elimination, because a lot of people will say we're not the Israelites.
Right.
But this is how we prove that we the Israelites. Moses said if you don't listen to God and keep his commandments, curses was going to happen.
Right.
One of the curses was that our sons and our daughters will be given unto another people.
Right.
And what else?
And there shall be no might in their hand.
It wasn't anything we can do to get our children back. Right. So in slavery, were not our sons and daughters given to another people? Did not they break families up and sell? They can sell your child to a plantation in Virginia. They might sell you to a plantation in somewhere else. They broke our families up. Right. They sold us. And could we do anything to get our children back? No, we had no might and no power. Right. Let's bring it up to today. If Child Protective Service see that you're not fit to take care of your child, what do? They take them. Or do you have any power to get your children back? No. You got to go through hell and high water to get your children back that you birthed. Right. So the curses are still alive and well today, which proves that we are the Israelites. Let's read on, verse 48.
Verse 48, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee. The Lord shall send against thee.
So everybody that we got to serve in today's time, guess who sent them against us? God did. That's love, because if God didn't love us, he would have let us destroy ourselves. Right. But he said, okay, when y'all don't do something right, I got to punish y'all. I got to put y'all back on the right track. Right. That's a father who loves his children. Right. So he said, therefore shall you serve your enemies that I'm going to send against you. Read.
In hunger and in thirst.
So we want food. Where do we got to go get our food from? We gotta go to Popeyes. We gotta go to Captain D's. We gotta go to Burger King. We gotta go to Walmart. Who owns these places? Do we own any of this? No, we do not own it. Who owns it? The so-called white man own. The Arabs own all the gas stations. You know what I'm saying? The Africans own the gas stations. Everything we want in today's society, we got to go to another nation to get. Why? Because God sent that nation against us because we were disobedient. So we said in hunger. Read.
And in nakedness.
And if you want food, if you want water, if you want clothes, we always got to go to another nation to get it. This whole plaza, I guarantee you, is not owned by one black person. This whole plaza, I guarantee you, is owned by a white man. So God said he was going to make us serve those people because we didn't want to serve him. Read.
And in want of all things.
Anything that we want to learn about ourselves. Who do we have to go to? The educational system, the school system. Who set the school system up? We didn't set them school systems up. In the school, they don't teach us about us. They teach us about the white man's history. We have one month they dedicate to us. Black History Month. Like that's the only month that we did something great. But in actuality, we built this country. This country was built off the backs of the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans. But they don't tell us that. Because they understand, they tell us that we're going to wake up and realize who we are and we're going to come together. So everything that we want in today's society, we got to go to another nation to get it. That's one of the curses that God put upon us. Read.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Who put yoke of iron upon our neck? The white man put yoke of iron upon our neck, bro. So this Bible is talking about us. You see what I'm saying? So all this happened, why? Because we didn't keep God's commandments. So what do we have to do? We have to find out some of God's commandments and start to apply them to our lives. That's
we used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are how men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.